Gretzky versus Ovechkin, first to hit 1,000 goals wins. The winner will be added to our GOAT team, which we're going to build with a bunch of challenges like this. So a couple things to note is I made Ovi higher overall. I put him back in his prime. He's a 94 overall. I also put Gretzky on Vegas because Washington and Vegas are close to the same overall, and I did do a poll to see if you guys wanted to count playoff goals in this challenge, and you voted for yes, so we are going to do that. You may have also noticed they're both playing with 280 overalls to make it as fair as possible. I don't want their teammates making too much of a difference, so I gave them both 280 overalls to play with. Year number 1, Wayne Gretzky scores 50 on the dot, while Alex Ovechkin drops 61 to take the early lead, and both teams making the playoffs, with Washington finishing second in their division and Vegas finishing 4th. Well, I was hoping this would happen eventually, but we're getting it in the first season. Vegas versus Washington in the Stanley Cup Finals. Let's see who wins. We're going to sim all 7 games. Looks like Washington's winning. The Washington Capitals beat the Vegas Golden Knights to win the Stanley Cup in year number 1. Alex Ovechkin would end up scoring 14 goals in 20 games played in the playoffs. Wayne Gretzky would score 21 goals in the playoffs while playing 24 games, which means at the end of year number 1, Alex Ovechkin is up 75 goals to Wayne Gretzky's 71. Year number 2, Alex Ovechkin would score 63 goals. Gretzky would absolutely dominate, dropping 71 goals, doubling his total. Both teams would make the playoffs once again, as the Washington Capitals would finish 3rd in their division, while Vegas would finish 1st in their division. And in back-to-back years, the Washington Capitals are your Stanley Cup champions. And here's where the playoff games / playoff goals can make a huge difference, as Alex Ovechkin would play 20 playoff games and score 19 goals, while Vegas would only play 7 playoff games, Gretzky scoring 8 goals along the way. But at the end of year number 2, Alex Ovechkin is in the lead with 157 goals, while Gretzky is close behind with 150. Year number 3, Alex Ovechkin drops 71 goals, with Wayne Gretzky only dropping 70. I say only dropping like 70's bad, which it's absolutely not. Both teams would make the playoffs once again, which is great, with Washington finishing 1st in their division, while the Vegas Golden Knights finish 2nd in their division. Year number 3, the Calgary Flames are your Stanley Cup champions. This is a very interesting playoffs. Alex Ovechkin only playing 5 games, only scoring 2 goals. Wayne Gretzky would play 13 games in the playoffs and score 8 goals, which means after 3 full seasons, Alex Ovechkin is only up by 2 goals, leading Gretzky 230 goals to 228. Year number 4, Alex Ovechkin would drop 68 goals. We have our first big underperformance of the video, as Gretzky would only drop 47 goals. Washington blew a 3-1 lead to Columbus, by the way. And in year number 4, the Colorado Avalanche would win the Stanley Cup. And since Washington choked, Ovechkin only got to play 7 playoff games. He did score 7 goals in that time frame, though. Gretzky got to play an extra series. He got to play 12 games, and he scored 17 goals. At the end of year number 4, Alex Ovechkin still leads 305 to 292. Year number 5, Alex Ovechkin would drop 65 goals, while Wayne Gretzky would drop 61 goals. Both teams making the playoffs once again, with the Washington Capitals finishing 1st in their division, the Vegas Golden Knights also finishing 1st in their division. Tampa Bay Lightning would go on to win the Stanley Cup. Alex Ovechkin would score 7 goals in 10 games played, while Wayne Gretzky would score 5 goals in 7 games played. At the end of year number 5, Ovechkin has 377 goals, while Gretzky only has 358. Year number 6, Ovechkin drops 59 goals, while Gretzky only dropped 54. And to make matters worse for Gretzky, the Washington Capitals do make the playoffs, even though they only finished 5th in their division, while the Vegas Golden Knights finish 5th in their division and do not make the playoffs. So it's the first time one of them has missed the playoffs. Somehow the Philadelphia Flyers are your Stanley Cup champions, and luckily for Gretzky, Ovi would only play 1 round of the playoffs, and he'd only score 3 goals. By the end of year number 6, Alex Ovechkin has 439 goals, while Gretzky has 412. Year number 7, Alexander Ovechkin drops 55 goals. It would be Wayne Gretzky who would take over, dropping 70. And to make matters worse for Ovi, the Washington Capitals would miss the playoffs, while the Vegas Golden Knights would be top of their division. The Toronto Maple Leafs are your Stanley Cup champions. While Ovi played 0 playoff games, Wayne Gretzky would play 15 and score 14 goals. First lead change of the video, as Alexander Ovechkin only has 494 goals, while Wayne Gretzky takes the lead at 496 goals. Year number 8, Alex Ovechkin would score 52 goals. Gretzky would stretch out his lead, scoring 62. Both teams making the playoffs once again, as Washington would finish 4th in their division, while the Vegas Golden Knights would finish 3rd in their division. St. Louis Blues would go on to win the Stanley Cup. And you might notice the fact that Alex Ovechkin did not score a single goal in the playoffs, and they played 5 games. Gretzky playing 6 games and scoring 4 goals. At the end of year number 8, Gretzky leads with 562 goals to Alex Ovechkin's 546. Year number 9, Alex Ovechkin drops 73 goals, while Wayne Gretzky only drops 59. Both teams make the playoffs, as the Washington Capitals finish 1st in their division, while Vegas finishes second in their division. The New York Rangers are your Stanley Cup champions, and the playoff difference is really starting to matter, as Ovechkin would only play 4 games in the playoffs as they get swept. He'd only score 1 goal. Meanwhile, Wayne Gretzky would play 12 games in the playoffs and score 14 goals, which means at the end of year number 9, Wayne Gretzky has 635 goals, while Alex Ovechkin only has 620 goals. Year number 10, Alex Ovechkin would score 71 goals. Chelsea claw his way back a bit as Gretzky only scores 66 goals. Both teams would make the playoffs, as the Washington Capitals would finish first in their division, while the Vegas Golden Knights would finish second in their division. The Minnesota Wild would move on to win the Stanley Cup. Both teams would have a bad playoff performance, as the Washington Capitals would get swept in the first round, with Ovechkin only scoring 1 goal. Vegas facing the exact same fate, getting swept in the first round, and Gretzky only scoring 1 goal. So at the end of year number 10, Gretzky leads with 702 goals to Ovechkin's 692. Year number 11, Alexander Ovechkin drops 68 goals, while Wayne Gretzky only drops 51, meaning Alex Ovechkin jumps into the lead. Both teams would make the playoffs, as the Washington Capitals would finish 3rd in their division, while the Vegas Golden Knights would finish 3rd in their division as well. Florida Panthers would move on to win the Stanley Cup. Ovi would finally get some much needed playoff time, as he played 17 games in the playoffs and scored 13 goals, while Wayne Gretzky and the Vegas Golden Knights get swept in back-to-back years. Gretzky still dropping 5 goals in 4 games played. When year 11 is all said and done, Alexander Ovechkin leads the way with 773 goals, with Wayne Gretzky still pretty close behind at 758. Year number 12, Alex Ovechkin would drop 69 goals, while Wayne Gretzky would get a little bit of an edge over him, dropping 72 goals. Both teams making the playoffs once again, the Vegas Golden Knights finishing first in their division, while it would be the Washington Capitals only finishing 3rd in their division. The Boston Bruins would go on to win the Stanley Cup. Ovechkin would get to play 12 games in the playoffs, and in those 12 games, he would score 10 goals. Meanwhile, Wayne Gretzky got to play 18 games in the playoffs. He did only score 2 more goals than Ovi, though. Gretzky would drop 12 playoff goals. At the end of year number 12, Ovechkin would lead Gretzky 852 goals to 842 goals. Year number 13, Alexander Ovechkin would only drop 56 goals. When you really thought that maybe Alexander Ovechkin was going to win, it really seemed like he was winning. Guess what Gretzky does? Gretzky drops 96 goals. That's right, 96. One more time for the people that didn't hear me. 96 goals in the current day NHL. The craziest part about this is it's set to normal scoring, because you can like edit the scoring to lower, normal, or higher. This is on normal scoring settings. Gretzky has dropped 96 goals, and I think this seals the deal for him winning this competition. And to make matters worse, Ovechkin didn't even make the playoffs, as his team finished 5th in their division, while the Vegas Golden Knights would finish 1st in their division. The Philadelphia Flyers somehow, for the 2nd time today, win the Stanley Cup. Ovechkin, no playoff games played. Gretzky, 7 playoff games played and 8 goals. He just had an electric season. At the end of year 13, Gretzky pulls away. He is now at 946 goals after an incredible season, while Ovechkin is stuck at 908. I think this one's over. We probably won't even have to finish this whole last season. And at 71 games played in year number 14, Wayne Gretzky would hit 57 goals, which would push him over 1,000, hitting 1,003 goals, while Ovechkin would play 72 games this season and get 53 goals. Which means your official winner of the 1,000 goal race is Wayne Gretzky. The final score being 1,003 to 961. It was a really close race. It realistically all came down to that one crazy season by Gretzky. Gretzky did end up playing more playoff games. He had 129 playoff games played to Ovechkin's 110. I didn't keep track of playoff goals. I really kind of wish I did at this point. I don't think it mattered. I think it all ended the second Gretzky hit that 96 goal season. If that doesn't happen, Ovi wins, even with Gretzky playing more playoff games. And as I mentioned at the start, we're building the GOAT squad. We're going to do a bunch of challenges like this to make the all-time great team. And Wayne Gretzky is the first man to join that team. That is going to be it for me today. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.